be sure you stick around because we're only getting warmed up.
Right, Adam. Good to see you,
Howard.
mate. And this is a fill-in podcast, this one.
Quite nice, just us, isn't it?
We thought we'd do this because every now and again, you remember we used to do Wing Wednesdays at one time, and we did a video every Wednesday talking about, giving advice to the industry or just
on
chewing
my
the fat
YouTube channel. Yeah,
about weddings in general and
this
what's
is
going
like
on.
harking back to that, isn't it? Because we used to just sit on the sofa. It's
It
quite.
is.
For
It is.
anyone that's watching on the video, it's a much more stripped back. Well, not that we have a high production value on the podcast normally, but this is a bit more chill.
Well,
isn't it?
I wanted to talk.
Just so we have a little catch up and a chat.
I wanted to
topics.
talk.
Go on.
I've got a topic because what's going on in the wedding industry at the moment. So I've done a wedding yesterday, and I did a wedding 2 weeks before. 2 weeks before, I was at the Crowwood, just chatting to suppliers, chatting to the people running the
Nice
wedding.
gaff.
Yeah, and they were just like, everybody's quiet in the wedding industry. It's like this year, one of our quietest years. Next year seems it's better. Wedding yesterday, chatting to some suppliers. Yeah, dead quiet this year, but next year seems to be picking up all right. And I've asked a few other people across the board. Everybody seems to be quiet this year, and I want to know why.
Okay, so this is the topic I was going to bring up, but this is a good thing to talk about because hopefully
I've got my theories, but
I've got theories. Yeah, I just think that this is good to talk about because hopefully anyone listening that might be in the same boat, that might just feel a little bit, because I know I've listened to a couple of the podcasts in the last few weeks that are talking about the same topic, and it's made me feel a little bit better. And hearing you saying that all types of suppliers are also feeling it, it doesn't make it any less scary.
No,
but it makes me feel better that I'm not doing anything wrong. And I think as people of influence, if we can say that, because we put stuff out and we have an educational kind of side to our businesses. I think we've got a responsibility to not always be sunshine and rainbows. I'm solidly booked. I've got oh my God, I got 20 inquiries last night. I'm so busy. Because then other people that are struggling look at that and go, oh, what am I doing wrong? And it's really disheartening. So I think if we can be honest about it, and I did a talk in Glasgow a few weeks ago when I said that I was struggling for inquiries this year. And a lot of the conversations I had afterwards were people going, oh, I feel better now. If you're feeling it, then I don't feel. So I think there's some value in that.
Well, I've got a few ideas of. I think we should definitely touch on it and talk about it on this pod about what can we do about it.
Yeah.
Because I've got loads of things. But yeah, I just really wanted to get that evidence. So I've asked quite a few people, certainly over the last few months. Just online and just being out and chatting. And yeah, the press. Everybody's saying quieter this year. And it always seems like exactly what you said. And I was like, well, I've got the amount of weddings that I really want to get. Probably could have done with a few extra more, but I think generally not as many inquiries, or certainly not as many bookings from inquiries probably that I used to get. Still got enough weddings for what I want to do. But yeah, so it's like, well, let's go over why we think that is. I mean, what I've got my theories on why I think it is.
You're going to gatekeep them until I tell you mine.
But you tell me yours. Yeah.
Well, so I'm down, and this year's like the quietest year I'd for inquiries ever, I think, which is the part of my theories is that my prices have always kept increasing. So of course I'm going to get less bookings, and my ratio of like inquiry to booking is going to go down slightly. But it's not really the bookings that are going down, as you've said. Like, I could do with a few more this year. This year, I'm about 3 or 4 off what I'd like to be, which I might still get because video can be quite late in that respect. But if I don't, it's fine. I just like to have a few more. And next year is pretty quiet, so I'm hoping that does pick up because people are saying that seems to be better. But my price and what I charge doesn't really have any impact on my inquiries because I don't have prices anywhere online, so that shouldn't affect the amount of inquiries that are coming in.
But it is.
But my inquiries are down, yeah. So I think I'm guessing, theorising, but there's the state of the economy and the UK market and the cost of living and all those kind of buzzwords. People keep saying it's COVID fallout. I don't think it is that anymore. I think that's surely been and gone. But I do think the cost of living might be a factor. And planning my own wedding, I know that we've kind of gone, okay, what's the budget? We have a budget to stick to try and stick to. And there has been things that we've wanted that we've gone, okay, we're going to have to make sacrifices here, there. So there's going to be certain things, depending on what your priorities are and what you envision your wedding to be. For some people, video will be one of those things that we can drop. And this is where content creators coming into the space now are fighting videographers in it to an extent, because I'm charging probably 3 times more what a content creator is charging. But from the bride and groom's point of view, that's a luxury that if they can still have some sort of video, some content, whether it's iPhone footage or whatever, they're like, well, you know, it's not quite the same, but we'll cut back on the video and have a content creator. And we know that we spoke to Julie and Richard on the podcast, the couple that did exactly that. And part of that will have been the cost. And I think that kind of thought process goes through couples. So in video world, everyone's worried about content creators. And kind of there's photographers now offering video because everything's a bit quieter. People are trying to offer more and cutting the prices in order to pick up the gigs. And there's more suppliers than ever, but there seems to be less demand than ever. I Googled late at night a couple of weeks ago, which was a deep, dark cave that I shouldn't have gone down, but I was spiraling and Googling late at night.
You're up late Googling.
Yeah.
Jabe was in bed.
Yeah.
You're on your own Googling late.
I had a box of tissues by my side because I was crying. And no, genuinely, it was a bit daft because I started spiraling a little bit. And I was Googling like weddings in the UK and statistics and stuff. And there's been a downward trend since like the 80s of weddings are just on the decline and are continuing to be on. And by 2030, they'll be like, I don't know, 200.
Honestly?
Yeah. So if you Google it, it was like in the 80s, there was 500,000 weddings a year in the UK. And it's been on a steady decline every single year. And it's projected that by like 2050, there'll be like 100,000. So it's gone down quite a lot. But there's more, and certainly in my video world, there seems to be more suppliers than ever. So there's more people, less demand. And I was just like, oh God, this doesn't.
Do you think it's people are not thinking weddings like years ago? It was
not as
more of a
important
glamorous thing to do, and not as important now. Or?
I suppose there's, back then it was probably a bit more like a traditional religious maybe thing, and that's what people did. They met and got married, and nowadays modern couples, like myself included, they're prioritizing kids and careers, and then getting married, and
it's different, isn't it?
Having a smaller do, and and again, I don't like to keep saying the cost of living thing, but there is just less money, and people are happy having a small registry office and a restaurant night do, and there's a bit of that. And doing it a bit cheaper, because weddings aren't cheap. It's like, and my wedding this year has come at the worst year, because it's the one year where I'm a bit quieter, and it's the one year where I'm having to shell out all this money for our own bloody wedding. So that's fun. But yeah, I think so. That for me is a combination. My theory is that in video world, it's more popular than ever in terms of so many people coming into it. We've probably not helped in that respect with our course, like helping people get
the market
started
with new videographers. Yeah.
And then there's content creators, and then there's just less weddings, and there's less money, and yeah, that's my theories on it. But I don't know whether I'm right or wrong. Also, that's me putting the blame on the outside world. I know that I'm not posting enough on social media, TikTok. These are the strategies that I'm having to, rather than going, state of the economy, there's more everyone else is taking it's okay, what do I need to be doing now? I've kind of maybe ridden the wave a bit too much, rested on my laurels. What can I do? So we'll get on to the strategies.
We can talk about that, because I know you've been making a few moves recently, which I thought, hey, up Adam's stepping his game up a little bit.
I'm a bit more active now than I used to be. So you can tell that I'm quiet because I'm busier on Instagram, which is a backwards way of looking.
Yeah, no, yeah. Because I see it, people, if they see, if I'm a bit more active on Instagram, and if I see somebody out like, God, you're dead busy, aren't you? It's like, no, I'm really
opposite.
quiet.
I've got
That's
loads
why
of
I've been
time.
posting loads of stuff on social media.
Loads of time to sit on Instagram and make content. So it's when you don't see anything that I'm rammed.
Yeah.
But it does work. I've noticed that my inquiries have gone back up again since the start. So,
we'll touch on that, definitely, about remedies and what we think works and what we know works of things that you can do. And then, I just want to address as well, there's people out there I know we're thinking like this, and majority of people in the wedding industry are feeling similar, but there's key people in certain areas that just seem to be smashing it more than ever.
Yeah.
So we need to touch on that as well, and how we.
But this is where I've had to have a look at myself and have a talking to with in the mirror and go, what are you going to do about it? Like, you could blame the economy, you could blame like the saturation of the market and all that, but ultimately, like, this is my business and I need it, and like I need to do something. Like I need to pull my finger out and do, because there's people that are, and even in my little niche part of the wedding world, there's still videographers that are doing 100+ weddings a year, absolutely killing it, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
what can I be doing? But I suppose before I get onto what I've been doing, what's your theories on why it's
why it is? Yeah. And again, this is I'm not looking for blame for anywhere, but it is good to talk about why we think things are happening. Because I strongly always believe your life is 100% your responsibility. It's your fault, and there's nobody ever to blame. But the market has shifted a little bit over this last year or two, without a doubt. I know you touched on the COVID thing there. I was just trying to work out timings in my head. I think there's a tiny bit of that still factoring in. I'm not sure if at this point that's just an excuse and someone's using that to kind of justify not taking action. Or not taking that. Yeah. And this is what people, they look for blame.
You're like, well, it's,
they
it's
look inwards to themselves.
And when you speak to people outside the world, like, so I was speaking to like family members about it, as my mum, and they were like, oh, is it anything to do with, because I said, oh, it's a bit quiet at the minute in wedding world. They were like, oh, is it to do with COVID? Because that's still, for the public perception, that's still a thing, isn't it?
Well, you've got to think that it is, I still think it is very much to do with COVID, only in the fact, not just saying because couples haven't been out meeting, but the start of the COVID was kind of the decline of the UK economy. And if you think about
in that sense,
how it affects how it's affected prices for everything, you name it. I mean, Sam's just trying to look for a holiday now, and she's looking at things that we had years before that are like £3,000 or £4,000 or £5,000 more expensive than the same would have been 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
So you've got to factor all that. If people still want to live their lives, and it's well, that's going to cost us £3,000 more. Maybe we need to cut back on the wedding a little bit. And what is a real priority and what really isn't? And let's try and we would have had all those things 5 or 6, 7 years ago, but now we can only have maybe 50% of those things. And what we're going to do.
But do you not think that is the mindsets of people now? Is that they're having to make those decisions?
Yeah. So
weddings are a luxury, aren't they? So
I think the COVID has got a lot to do with it, not just because of couples meeting, but the way it's affected the economy.
Yeah.
So
but that's not going to change anytime soon, that is it? That's
not going to change. You just have to adapt.
Like, there's no point thinking that couples aren't meeting the same, so in a couple of years we'll be back to normal. It's not. I don't think it's that part of COVID that's making a difference.
Because those prices aren't going back to normal. They might go back a little bit. But
they're not going to, are they? They're just going to stay as they are.
Yeah. Well, things have. So when we've got another supplier with one of my other businesses, and the prices went through the roof during COVID. We just managed to keep selling those products, but my supplier said, "Look, the prices are going to come back. They have come back, but not to where they were before."
Yeah, they come back a bit.
There's like a middle ground, but so things have changed there definitely. I still think a little bit of that 2-year gap of not going out meeting partners and having to extend that kind of courting period of 2 or 3 years. There's got to be a little bit of a knock-on from
it makes sense. But when I googled and there's a decline in weddings statistically year on year, that's not shown any uptick.
Yeah, okay,
but it could improve a little bit, but they are still generally on the decline.
Yeah,
according to
and I've always said this, that the wedding industry is like a recession-proof business. If you can get into it and you establish yourself and you've got a good brand, you'll always have work. But maybe that's not 100% true. But
people are always going to still get married.
I think people are always still going to get married, and you just have to make sure that you're one of the suppliers that they pick. So it's kind of positioning yourself so you are going to get that booking, that sale. And also it's about how you sell yourself and what you do when you get your inquiries, first of all, how you get the inquiry, but then how you deal with it to then get the booking. You've got to be so on point. You've got to be doing more than what everybody else is going to be doing, to get that booking. And just pull out all the things that we've been preaching for years. So maybe we could go into that. Do you have any other theories why? As well, more competition, I think. So I found it when I started going out doing hosts, performing and singing, I've always been a singer, but when I started to add in the hosting and do the daytime package, it was like it's completely new. One other person that I knew of that did it, and it was like, oh my God, we've got an entertainer, a singer, a host, someone who'll run the whole day, create an amazing atmosphere. And I was just through the roof, 130, 40 gigs a year. You know, it was just bananas. As each year's gone on, you've got DJs that spotted kind of what I was doing years ago and thought, oh, maybe we could do hosting during the day and add that into our package.
Yeah.
And charge half of what he's charging. But I know we're not singing, but we can still entertain and play music. A whole host of those people have over the last few years of every single DJ. You've now even got magicians who are adding hosting to their package.
Yeah.
How can I make extra money? Well, I get 300 quid as doing drinks reception. I might be able to get 600 quid if I stick around and host a day.
The MC.
They're here.
It makes sense for the individual running their business to have that as an add-on.
Yeah, and listen, I'm not knocking it. That's why not. And other singers who would say just be a singer with a band or be a background singer or sing during the drinks, they're looking exactly the same thing going, I need to be a host as well. Because somebody who can't maybe afford Howard, but they might be able to afford an extra 300 or 400 quid on my fee by me doing a bit more during the dinner.
Thinking we've got mics.
And introduce.
Maybe I should.
Yeah, you could be a hosting videographer.
I'm hosting.
So there's a lot more competition, I think, for me and definitely with you. We've touched on that with the content creators. So there's a lot more people, and I think people as well have always realised that the wedding industry is a really good place to have a business.
Yeah,
that brings people in.
Maybe it's not just unique to video then, because if you're going through the same sort of thing, like you touched on like a new concept, you went mad busy with it, and then everyone else catches up and goes, yeah, I'm going to do that. And like I said, certainly at the minute, everyone's going, right, what more can I offer to then milk more money out of the existing bookings that I've got, and maybe bring in some new bookings if I'm offering something else and something extra to talk to different,
Yeah, markets. I mean, and this is a
so
key point, isn't
every
it?
supplier's going, or certainly magicians, celebrants, DJs, it'll make sense for them to go, I can host as well, and that's an extra, and and
yeah, and of course somebody's more likely to buy off you if they've already bought off you. So if they say they've already booked your starting package, for instance, they're more likely to upgrade and buy something else from you because they've already trusted you in the first sale. So imagine for me, a background singer is just going to do the drink section. If they all of a sudden create, I'm going to offer this hosting during the day and do a bit more. They contact all them couples they've booked the day with. Oh, just to let you know, I'm offering this for an extra 300 quid. I can be there and I can host the day for you, and you're more likely to get that from somebody coming in cold. So and then why would you not do it? That's. I think I would do exactly the same. Yeah. If I was a DJ and I thought, yeah, of course I'd offer that. But I did find it funny that when I started seeing magicians starting to offer it, and a lot of the guys that I know that are my friends offer it now, and it's like I can't believe it. And you've got people offering courses of how, if you're a magician, how to then offer your upsell.
Yeah, and then there's a lot more educational content, and I know we sell our course and things, but there's a lot more people doing that as well, because again, it's like, well, what else can I be doing within my business to make it? Well, I've got a whole market of other suppliers there that I can teach to do extra services or.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And there's more of that than ever. And because of that, like, we made the course to, kind of help other videographers, but ultimately it's a business and we wanted to, make some money out of doing it. But then that invites more people because they see it, they buy it, it's good stuff, it's accessible, and then they enter the industry and there's even more then. So like a magician who's suddenly started offering hosting and then gone, oh, actually I can make some extra money again by selling a course on how to be, and then all the other magicians become hosts, which just makes it even worse for you.
So imagine it, that magician guy, he might have, who knows, he might have 100 students who's bought his course. You've got 100 of other magicians then going out into the industry offering hosting services. Yeah. It's gonna. It might affect
just saturate.
But imagine if somebody's bought a magician hosting day thing, then they might go and see me somewhere at a wedding. And think, oh, God, that's brilliant. Oh, we've already got the magician guy though. Do you know what I mean? So it wasn't there in the past.
Yeah.
But now it is. So you've got all these little factors tying into why maybe you're not as busy. But
feels like this is really doom and gloom and awful, but
No, it's not doing good. It's just the progression of how people
Makes
have
you go, "Ugh."
how people have pivoted in their business to make it beneficial for them.
I think
But
it's had a real boom, the wedding industry, in recent years, and then it's just now shifting. In like you said, people are offering more, but I do think that social media, and this is kind of one of the things that I've been trying to get better at, because when there is more competition for both of us and probably for every other area of the industry, you've got to, there's more noise, there's more stuff out there, there's more people advertising, and you've got to be louder than everyone else. And Instagram and TikTok at the minute are pretty much where the attention's at. And so I think that's where there's been a real shift, because there's been a rise in Reels, and since Reels and TikToks and everything have come about and those features have become popular, everyone that's doing really well with that is rising to the top, and they're the ones that are getting seen. And if you're not on it with social media, Instagram, Reels, TikToks, and all the others, I mean, I keep saying those two because they are the two, aren't they? But if you're not on it with those, then you're going to get left behind. You're just going to get squashed with all the other people that are doing it.
It is a shame, isn't it, really? Because sometimes it kind of takes away the art of what you actually do, because you have to become another type.
Yeah, you're just like a machine. I sympathise, because I struggle with it. It's not really my sort of thing, the whole Instagram Reels and social media. I'm not big on social media in my personal life.
But there could be somebody who's killing it on social media, is probably not as good as you.
But they'll get the booking.
They'll probably get the
yeah,
booking
because as
of
we
it.
know, it's not about the product, is it? It's about your personality and getting your. And if they're seeing you on Instagram and they follow you and they're seeing your stories every day of you having your tea with your kids and whatever you do, just normal stuff.
Yeah,
we love this person.
Yeah, and they could be. You could be exactly.
And
the
the
same
video's
as them,
good. We'll just book them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
My video could be better in quotation marks, and there's plenty of times where I've had an inquiry or I've had someone follow me, and then 6 months later I see them, they've got married and they've gone with someone else, and I wanted that wedding. I'd have nailed that wedding.
It's difficult now, isn't it?
And they've booked someone else,
really
but it's because it doesn't matter how good my films are. It's got to have that extra element, and if they're not finding me in the first place.
I think people now coming into the wedding industry have to realise that it's not just the thing that they do and they offer. They have to be great at marketing. And they have to have that in their
whether
arsenal.
you like it, whether it's your bag or not, you've just got to do it. You can't.
You have to do it.
I spoke to loads of people that are like, "Oh yeah, it's just not for me. I just can't bring myself to." Look at Andrew Keir, who we interviewed. Because the perception is that you've got to be on with trends and doing funny dances on TikTok and stuff. But if you look this guy up, Andrew Keir, on Instagram, he's booked that trend and he's doing really, oddball sort of content compared to what's expected, and following the real trends and doing all the usual stuff. His stuff's different, but it's serving him really well. So I think the initial kind of reaction is I can't do Instagram. It's not for me. You've got to, unfortunately. But you don't find a way that works for you that's unique.
Yeah, I was going before. There's always seems to be those people that are smashing it regardless of however the economy is, and it's those people that are so on point with the social media. And
I'm seeing it now,
100%. And
I'm going to call out Chumley, James. Chumley.
Yeah, brilliant.
Like he's come out, he's come up in the last couple of years, but he's doing really well on his social media, and people love. He's really good with his personality and getting his face across there, and people seem to be loving it. And he seems really busy from an outside. And I've spoke to him, and I know he's doing really well. But certainly from an outside perception, he seems to be really busy. And then I can look at that and go, yeah, I never post anything, and he's on it all the. No wonder people are going. Like, I'm just getting buried, and people like him and others are getting the inquiries because they're out there and they're visible, and I'm not.
Yeah, so we'll do more.
Simple,
but I think we could say that's lesson number one: is you have to be putting social media out on a regular basis, stories every day, reels, posts, maybe one post a day or one every other day, but certainly in your stories every day. And don't worry, because I've thought about this so many times, and been affected by it myself, thinking I've just got to put singing content or me at a wedding content out. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You've just got to mix it up. So people might think, I've not got any
nice
content.
variety.
Well, you have got content because you've got up in the morning, you've replied to somebody on an email, you've had your breakfast, you're thinking about a wedding scenario. It's all content and it's all there.
Yeah,
So
and there's very like people will say, well, my day today is pretty mundane, but you think that because it's your life, and you don't have to be doing anything necessarily exciting.
when you're in the wedding industry, there's always
your...
something every day to do with your wedding business that is going on. Whether it just be an email, a reply, a meeting.
I think so.
Getting in touch with a new venue. There is always content there.
So, but this is a good example, I think. Even when there's not, I posted on my stories about I went on a run, and I'd been struggling with back pain, and I went on a run, and it really hurt my lower back, and I struggled, and I had to pack it in and come back, and I've been seeing a chiropractor, but I think at the time I posted on my story, I'm really struggling. I've just tried to go for a run and I'm really struggling and my back's hurting. And if there's anyone that follows me that knows anything about back pain, any advice? And I don't know what possessed me to post it really. I think it was in that mindset of like, let's just share more of my life on my stories. And it's like one of the most engaged things that I've done for ages. And that will have, because I got like dozens of DMs, Instagram will have gone, oh, his profile's doing well today, we'll push him more. And that all helps your engagement, all helps you, because the next time I do post something, because I've had that influx of engagement,
you're going to get
more
next
engagement post that I do will probably get more reach. So even though it had, you could be like, oh, my life's boring and I've not done a wedding this week, so I've nothing to post about. I literally posted about my bad back. And it got me. It was the most engaged thing I've done for months, and I got so many DMs from people offering advice. And I'm not saying it led to an inquiry, but it all helps, doesn't it? I think it must do. Yeah. And some of the advice I got was pretty good, and my back's better now. So
lesson number 1: step up the social media game.
So there's the.
So I want to touch.
It really doesn't matter, does it? What you posted?
It doesn't. I want to touch on something else. We're talking about the extra competition and what things that you can do. I think competition is really good because for one, it kicks you up the arse. For two, it makes you raise your game. And I'm putting this on the same slant as like an Amazon product, for instance, if you like. If you're going to go into Amazon and have a successful selling product, you've really got to go into a market where there is competition because it means there's a demand for the product. But then it's how do you stand out? So you can go into a competitive market and really make it work. And the way to do that on Amazon, well, it's a combination of things, really. You have to stand out from the competitor on the marketplace. Your images have got to be better. Your branding's got to be better. There's got to be some sort of story with it. And you can also utilize paid ads as well to really kickstart things. Yeah. So I think that's any business is the same, really. Yeah. You're going into competitive space. What do you need to do to stand out? And it's funny talking about one of the main things is your hero image when you're selling on Amazon. Well, that's almost a bit like your website, isn't it? Or your social media content, or
your grid,
or your branding. It all works the same. So that, I think the point is, your website, everything, you've got to get it polished, got to be on point. It's got to be a mix of professional and friendly and normal, family life, everyday life, wedding life, a good mix of everything, but making it. Yeah, just look on point, just real quality stuff.
Like, if anyone listened to the last episode with John, the copywriting, having a real story behind you and your brand, and because people buy into the stories, don't they? And then it helps with the connection of you as a person, and they'll remember you better because there's a story to. It's not just I'm a wedding videographer and I've always liked cameras, so I started doing weddings. Like there's got to be more to it. But then people go and listen to that episode if you haven't. People
that goes to show that your back post done so well because they're more interested in that than you going out doing a wedding. Yeah. You know what I mean? So as long as you just kept in people's minds, that video guy, he's got a bad back. Let's talk about. Do you know anybody who can sort back? It just keeps you in the mind, and it keeps people talking about you.
I think it's a really good analogy that because, like you say, and with Amazon, you need your good image. And you want to be in a competitive market because otherwise there's not going to be any demand. There's no sales, is there?
Or very small demand.
Yeah, and yet you can go into that, and you can stand out if you do the right thing. So it's like you say, it's the same with any industry, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that's
But
the thought on that as well.
Yeah, I just we harp on about it a lot on here, but the whole personal putting your face out there, not just showing your product, showing your face, showing your story, if you will, and being a real personable, approachable face of the business that people can relate to, and we like that person.
And this is so
that makes such a difference, and that's the bit that's recession proof, because when like the product might change, sure, but if they buy into you, then like there's nothing it's a real emotional decision,
this is so true, because I had one of my wedding meetings which I had a couple of weeks ago. They said they really wanted this wedding venue or wherever, I'm not going to drop names, and they booked somewhere else, but they really want this wedding venue. They went to it. They didn't like the person who was showing them round. They said they were unprofessional, didn't really know what they were talking about. The meeting with him was rubbish, and it gave us a really bad feeling. Although we wanted for that venue for so many years, when we went there and met the person showing the venue, we booked somewhere else. We went and saw somewhere else, and the place we booked, we really loved the people. They were so friendly, so helpful. They knew what they were talking about. They were dead professional, but they were just so nice to get along with. And I thought, it's not always about the product,
mental that
it's about the person always.
They've wanted to book a wedding venue, like a specific location that they've loved, and they've let one person in completely change their mind and completely. But how true that happens, doesn't it? And it might sound mental, but you've got to get your head around that will happen. And if you're not a people person, and you're not being personable, and you're not making them feel like you're really interested in their wedding, then they are going to be put off. Me and Jade,
and they talk about it, and people talk about it. It's like,
but it's even from a supplier point of view. Like, I know there's venues that I can list off the top of my head where the people are great, where I feel looked after, where I love going.
Yeah.
And I'm always going to rave about those places.
Always.
So if anyone goes, where's good to? Oh, you need to.
But here's the flip side.
It's always because it's the people. It's not the building.
Here's the flip side of that. If you don't like the people running a venue, well, you're not going to want to work there, really, because they make you feel awkward. Maybe not as bad for you, but certainly for me. But what you do then is you go and tell people, and it spreads like wildfire.
Yeah.
So you've got to be so careful when you're the face of the business.
I've spoke to couples in the past that have got, we're speaking to this supplier, and without meaning to, because I always try and stay like a bit Switzerland about it, but they've kind of gone, oh, like, you gave us a look then, like, is that well? And so they are a bit, they're not great, and these suppliers that I'm in question are like people that have just horrible and have had real bad reputations. And there's a couple in particular that there was one time there's a photographer who the couple were speaking to, and this photographer's notorious for dropping people, like really awful business person,
right?
And I was like, do I say anything? Do I not? In the end, they were like, you don't seem too convinced. But like when we said his name, you were a bit. It's like, yeah, you don't like. This is kind of the reputation that they've got. And when we spoke about it, they went, yeah, do you know what? We did get a bit of a vibe. Anyway, I put them off booking that person, and I didn't. It's not like I went, oh, don't get them. They're horrible. I would never do that to I would never go out my way to say that. But I think they just got a vibe, and then one side kind of voiced it. Then it triggered something where they went, yeah, we did get that vibe ourselves.
Well, for me, I think it's something that.
So anyway, I put them off
I have to do
that supplier, because I know that person wasn't great as a human, and they were better off not having him. And I'm glad that they didn't book him.
Mate, yeah.
And I put them off booking him, and they went with someone else. But it was all because it wasn't the product; it was the photos. It was the person.
When somebody books me for a wedding, I feel it's my duty, but I want them to have the best day they can have. I know what I'm going to come in and what I'm going to do is going to really help to make the day. But there's other elements of that wedding day that, if you get it right, it's just going to make everything so perfect. And a lot of it is the suppliers. And I definitely feel it's my duty to steer them in the right direction. I mean, I've had people, have you got a photographer? Right, okay. look at these people. I'd probably steer away from these, and then give them stories and reasons why.
Yeah. That's it. I was trying to navigate. I don't want to dig anyone out, but if you know that there's a supplier that's really awful, like, you don't want your couple to book that, do you? Because you don't want them to get
You know
stunk.
what I really love is a couple. When I'm doing a wedding with someone and I'm friends with the suppliers, and the suppliers are all relaxed with each other, they're all having a good laugh, they love the venue, they know the venue staff, everybody is in such a good vibe throughout your suppliers and your venue. It rubs off on the couple.
Yeah, they love it.
They love it.
Yeah.
They say to me, they say, it's great that you tell, we've got the A-team, and you know what I mean? That adds a little extra element rather than just go and get married somewhere. It makes such a difference, and it adds more memories, you know.
We say this all the time, and we know it's about the person behind the business and the connection and stuff. But like you said earlier, I know I'm really good at that. But if my inquiries are down, I can't get that across to anyone. So it's doing that, but then it's being that way out, but making sure you get it across on your social media. And I think it goes back, I keep going back to socials, but you've got to be louder, and you've got to be not only being really good at that, but talking about it and showing it off and being visible.
Yeah, okay. Right.
So I've been posting a bit more, and it seems to be helping. Like, my Instagram activity, as you've noticed, has gone up, and I've been posting more. And it's nice that you've said that you've noticed that I'm posting more, because it means that it's working. And my inquiries have picked up again a little bit.
Yeah. All right, cool. So there's definitely some lessons there. So let's talk about some more remedies as well. One thing I noticed you've done recently on your social media is you did a competition, didn't you?
The competition,
so how that's gone. Has it created more inquiries? How has your engagement been with it?
Yeah.
How did you do it? Did you boost it, or did you just do it organic?
So I did it last year after we spoke to Greg on the podcast about
doing a competition.
Yeah. Because basically we interviewed him, because he's done it a few years now successfully. And then after that episode where we interviewed him, I went and did it myself, and it was a really good thing. It got me a few bookings last year. It got me a load of followers and good engagement. So because it's been a bit quieter again at this time this year, I was like, maybe I'll do the competition again, just to kickstart things. So I posted it, but this time I didn't bother boosting it. I did the first time. I didn't this time. I just let it go organically, just as an experiment, see how it did. So I got less views, but I did get more, like, a better ratio of, like, comments and entries per, like, so it had maybe a quarter of the views, but only, like, it still had like 3/4 of the comments of the original. Do you know what I mean? Okay. So the conversion was better, and the engagement was actually better, more authentic.
Did you gain followers?
Yeah. So I think I've ended up with this competition. I ended up with a couple hundred new followers and a couple hundred, because the idea is that they have to follow you, they have to comment, etc. Not everyone does, and some people unfollow you as soon as it's done, but most of them don't. Most of them, because the people that are entering are brides and grooms or friends of brides and grooms or whatever, and couples wanting to get married. So they will continue to follow you, because they're like, well, I didn't win, but this is all relevant to me at the minute because I'm planning my wedding, so I'll keep following this person to see if I get any inspo. And every comment that I get, which is a competition entry, which is, I'm getting married at this venue on this date, I could go to that person and DM them after the competition and say, look, you didn't win, but if you're still interested, I'd love to chat. I can send you some info. I offered a discount. I said I'm running a discount code for everyone that's entered the competition, to give them like 10% off, and that's optional. You can do what you want with that, but it's just a really nice way to. You've got like, I think I've, like I say, 200 comments, 200 leads. Isn't it 200? So
it was 200 people went into the competition.
Yeah. Well,
that's really
about
good. Organically as well.
200 or so comments. Yeah,
organically.
Now, not every single comment was an entry, because some of the comments were like people replying to. So like there was a couple of comments from like fellow suppliers that were like, "Oh, this is amazing. I'll share it." Like those kind of comments. Yeah. And then there was the odd comment where some people entered and then got the sister to enter and then got the mum to enter, so it was the same date cropping up, so you could tell, okay, that's all the same
you got
wedding.
The mum to enter, your mum's not she's not getting married, the mother, is there? So
No.
Did you not put that in your T's and C's?
So but this is the thing, in the T's and C's, it's like one entry per wedding per couple. But they don't read it. They just spam the thing thinking it will give them more entries, which it doesn't, because I had to manually sift through everything and go, right, make a list of everyone that is eligible.
And then put it in your...
and then put it in
the spinny wheel.
Yeah, to generate the winner. So there was... Not every single one of those comments were actual entries, but out of the 200, I think by the time I'd wrote down all of the genuine entries, and this... Like, I crossed out all the ones I was unavailable for because I've got bookings already in the diary. I had about 60 left.
Okay.
That I could DM and go.
Legitimate ones, yeah.
Yeah. So I DM'd all of them and was like, "Thanks for entering. You've not won, unfortunately, but if you still want to chat, and I can send you some info and dinner." So I think I've spoke to about 20 or so of them so far.
Do you think you're going to get bookings?
I've had one booking.
From doing that?
Yeah. Obviously, the winner's been drawn, so someone's won the wedding as well.
Yeah.
So they're buzzing. And I've got another few. Like I say, I've had about 20 conversations, and few of them.
One booking.
So far, I've got one booking, and a few of them are,
thinking about it.
Are going well.
Well, one booking is worth doing the whole thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So certainly at the minute, like, I obviously give away a wedding for free, which to me
it's just your time, then, isn't it?
It's just my time. It's the wedding day and a couple of days editing. But so for 4 days work, it's generated me then a booking.
That's really good.
So if it gets me a couple more, I think if it gets you 3 or 4 bookings from doing one competition, giving away one for free in exchange for
perfect
3 or 4, that's ideal. Any more is a bonus. Any less is just you chalk it up to an experiment.
This is good. So this is one thing that you can... Another lesson there.
Because if it doesn't work out, you're still getting engagement on your Instagram, and you're still getting followers, and it's still... Because it does help you. Like, when I look at my analytics and my Instagram, my views on my profile and everything, it's all gone skyrocketed.
And it's good. The fact you've done it organically as well, I think that's really good. So that's something else. Somebody... whatever business you're in the industry, can you think of anything that you could offer as a competition that would work for you?
I think it's worth doing, yeah. And the trouble is that there's a lot more people doing that now, and maybe this year because people are quieter, or maybe just because there's people like Greg, who I saw do it, who's been doing it for years, when it was a bit rare, and then I saw it, and so I copied it, sort of thing, and then there's other people doing it, so it starts to lose its kind of...
I get what you're saying. I won't put people off from doing it.
Well, it didn't me. Because part of my thought process was as like sort of being in the education space and being like having our course and kind of being I try and position myself as a person of authority within wedding video world. So I'm not just appealing to couples. I'm actually like, part of my audience is other videographers.
Yeah.
So part of me was worried about, if I do this, it's going to make me look like I'm not the aspirational guy that everyone looks.
You got to.
Yeah. So I was a bit like, if I do the competition, am I going to kind of cheapen my authority to other videographers?
Oh no, don't worry about that. No.
So in the end, I was like, no.
I think you have more of a duty to actually do it because you're practicing what you preach.
So I did decide to do it, and obviously I can now share those experiences with anyone else who might be thinking about doing it. Yeah.
And I was just wanting to touch back as well about just the social media side of things, how hard it can be for people. And I know we touched on it a while ago, and I think we should still do it. Is maybe our viewers can let us know. Is it creating a calendar for people as a PDF download or whatever, so we can create a calendar for posting for them? Because there's certain ways you can do things that are going to be better than others. So it's like, if somebody said to me years ago, right, I've no idea what to post, and somebody came to me with a solution, like, right, okay, it's Monday now, we're going to do your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're going to do a whole month of content, ideas, bosh.
Yeah, that's something that we've talked about, isn't it? I think
that'd be really helpful.
Something that we've talked about, offering anyone who's listening who, like we've had countless conversations in the past of, I just don't know what to post about. If we or somebody could offer you a schedule of content, because that's what we hire someone as a social media manager. They will go, here's your month's worth of, like, on Monday the 1st, post this at this time. Da, 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 da. Or like, if you could pay for that and have, then it's all the thought process is done, isn't it?
Well, I think we at one
and
time,
and I think for me, having a schedule and having like a list to follow, it's so much easier, and I'm so much more likely to do it. And I would never get round to doing that for myself. And it's very ad hoc and spontaneous, and therefore, like, there's no direction to my content. It's all just throwing stuff at a wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah.
It never works.
Yeah.
Whereas if
you've got a schedule,
if it's considered,
and it's in your calendar, and it's like, right, I'm going to post at this time. That's my post for today.
Yeah.
Or do we need to follow up with a story? Yeah, and there's just.
But there's also
have something you could follow.
There's a narrative too. Like, I'll post this on this date, and then I'm going to post this, and then this one will lead on from that. You know, like there's. Like me, without any direction, you just end up posting whatever you've got, and then you think, oh, it's not. Why is it not blowing up? Why is it not getting loads of views?
Because I think this is one of the hardest things, really, for social media. I just think can we do something that's really going to help people? And this brings me back to a memory where, in one of our other businesses, we hired a social media manager. It was like £1,000 a month. It was. I think we had her for 6-7 months, and literally, she sent through a calendar of posts. Do this, do that. Put an image with this. Did she post for us? I think she might have done the odd post for us. But it was literally just a calendar. It was almost like we had loads of ideas, but she organised it all. She put it into a spreadsheet.
That's what you need, yeah.
This is the calendar of what you need to do. And even that, or at the time, it was saying, wow, she's doing all that work. But it really was just a social media calendar. Well, she might have posted the other thing. But then she said, right, can you send me a load of images, a load of stuff for these? And I'll then go and post it. So it's kind of the stage before it. It's getting you organised. And I think that's key. Once you're organised, and certainly when you start doing things and realising, it's working, these posts are pretty good, and that was a good direction. So I just wanted to put that out there. Anybody's interested in that.
Well, if you're listening or watching, DM us on Insta or wherever, because that's something that we'd like to offer, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think we could do it
because it'd be really beneficial.
I think we could do it certainly for film and video. I could certainly do it on my side of things. But I think across the board, we can certainly give ideas and certainly come up with a calendar for any wedding business of what to do.
Yeah, and it's having a strategy with it. Like, you know, vary up your content and think about like your captions and kind of. I listened to a podcast a couple of days ago. Someone talking about there's 3 types of Instagram posts, and it's. You have like a hook sort of post where you just bring people in, that posts that are made to bring new viewers to your page, the kind of ones that you hope will go viral, and the posts that are just supposed to get your name out there and get you to a new audience. Then there's the second type of post, which is nurturing those new people. So you do a post that will hopefully bring new eyeballs to your page. Then you do and the next post after that is nurturing them. So you give them some similar content that they found you in the first place and liked, give them something more that buys them more into you. And then the third type of post is the closing post, which is then when you go, right, this is what I offer, and you hope that they try and you just can kind of repeat the process so there's with different bits of content. But it's really thinking about that. Yeah. And like, certainly for me, I just post stuff. And how many times do you see someone put a post on and be like, if you're looking for a wedding supplier in 2025, drop us a DM. They're just the worst posts. And I see them every day, and I just look at it and I think, because that's the closing post. But if you're not doing everything beforehand to get people interested in, why would they book you? Like, you've just put a post out and gone, let me know if you want to book me. And it's like, well, why would they? You've got to bring them on the journey first and do a few posts and get them interested and get them to buy into you and your content. Even so, I still don't like those kind of posts. I don't think you need to do them in this. I think we're not in a closing type of industry, are we? It's a different sales technique. Yes, I agree.
There is sales involved.
But do you get what I mean? There's a process to how you not just what the content is, but how you caption it and stuff that I think a lot of people just don't think about. Yeah, it's funny. I was just thinking about the sales. I was looking at an old friend of mine I've not seen for a while. He lives out in Bali now, and he's set up a business and he's teaching people how to sell and how to close. And he sells a course where you can become a remote closer
where you can live anywhere in the world, work for companies as their salesperson. He teaches the sales techniques with the closing techniques, and you get commission. And it just got my mind thinking. I thought, wow, I know I've got the sales script when you're speaking to a couple of how to get the booking. And it was just so weird. It was almost like it was the opposite of everything he was doing. It's like anti-closing. It was like the opposite of closing. But it's but get you the booking.
For the wedding industry, that's kind of
so different. Yeah,
works,
so different. Right. Okay. So we've got some good lessons there. Definitely something else which we've always talked about is everybody's quiet. There's some people that are not quiet. They're absolutely crushing it even now, and it's like, what are they doing? So you're matching and mirroring. Go and look at these people. You'll see them, and you'll know. Just watch their moves. Match and mirror.
Do you know there's one I've been doing just that, and there's a couple of people that come to mind for me that are smashing it. And I know for a fact that they're doing really well with paid ads. And that's something maybe we need to get a guest on to talk about it, because it's something that I don't really know too well. And I've never really needed to, I've never really bothered paying for marketing because I've never needed to, but it certainly is a valid thing.
I think it's the reach now. It's not as it was in Instagram in the early days.
Yeah,
it's nowhere near. But you've got to do it.
There's a couple of people that are doing really, really well and are super busy. And it's like paid advertising is a numbers game, isn't it? Because if you chuck a few £100 at a post to boost it or whatever, you've got to get X amount of work back. But as long as you can make that work, then
as long as your ratio's right.
Yeah. So
$1 in, 2 out, and happy days.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's in the sense of
Did I say dollar?
Dollar.
Dollar.
He's been looking at too much American
pound,
influencers trying to sell you stuff. In the interest of, in that strategy of looking at people that are doing well that you look up to, and how can I emulate what they're doing? That's one thing I'm thinking about, is following their journey with paid ads, and then okay, what can I learn from that, because they're doing that strategies, and maybe finding some education or buying a course or something where I learn how to do the paid ads, and then give that a go, because I know for a fact that that's working really well.
There's one way to find that out. If you go onto Meta, and you can go onto the ad space and you can search. So say if you've got a videographer you know's doing paid ads and it's doing really well with it, you'd search their name, their adverts will come up.
Oh.
And it will, and you can see how long. So if they've got a certain advertisement that they've had on for the last 6 months and it's still running, that's working.
I didn't know that.
And then you can go into that ad, you can see exactly how they structured their ad.
Yeah.
We
That's
do this.
mega. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've done it with the links of watches and all sorts.
I spoke to her.
Oh, by the way, if that is of interest, let us know and I can send you the exact link to where you need to go to find that out.
You can send it to me for starters, because that would be really helpful. I spoke to a woman who does. We need to get someone on the podcast to talk about it, because this, I think that'd be really helpful advice. There was a woman I spoke to in particular that's brilliant with paid ads, and she runs just an evergreen, continuous, pound a day, whatever.
Yeah,
ad
okay, like that.
That just brings the purpose of it is to get people to her page, and she just keeps it running all the time. And then on top of that, she's got then other ones that are targeted for certain things. But
so you probably would have got that engagement a few years ago without paying for it now. But people are realising you have to do it.
It's all changing, isn't it? Yeah, that's the thing. But it kind of brings me on to TikTok, because we've not really touched about that. That's where the organic reach is a bit better still, because that's kind of newer. There was a statistic that I heard recently that 70-something%, I can't remember, it was mid 70%, 75% say, of 25 to 35 year olds, which is the perfect target audience for couples getting married, 75% of that age range are on TikTok. And that's monthly active users. So they're, genuinely on TikTok. So
100%. Yeah.
And it was funny when the person that told me that statistic, I was with a group of videographers, and one of them was like, yeah, but surely they're all on Instagram. If 75% of people are on TikTok, 100% of them are on Instagram. Surely that's the better place. And that was the initial reaction. But the reality is that, yes, they probably are on Instagram, but they're also on TikTok. Do both. It's not mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me that was mad. Like and I knew TikTok was popular, obviously, but the fact that 75% of probably the majority of our target audience is actively on TikTok, then why aren't I posting? And so that's been part of everything that I've been doing on Instagram recently in improving my activity. I've also been posting to TikTok.
Oh,
so
have you?
I've not been doing like really considered purpose stuff for TikTok where I'm like, making it for TikTok. I've just literally been rehashing anything I put on Instagram, moving it over to there. So I don't really have a strategy with it. But
Gary V would be very upset with you.
I know, yeah.
You should be setting it across 7 pieces a day across all platforms.
Yeah, and I'm not tailoring it to the content to TikTok, but it's better than nothing. And the likes and the follows and the views that I'm getting on these on my posts now, I'm going in such a person liked your latest TikTok. I'll go on their profile and it's it's a bride to be or a groom to be, and it's an engaged person. So when I first started, when TikTok was a new thing in like 2020, and I looked into it and did some silly videos that got loads. I had a couple of videos back in 2020 on TikTok that got 500,000 views, and it was all random kids and bots and nonsense that were liking. But whereas now the difference is that the new followers and the likes I'm getting are couples and people that are getting married. And when I click on those, that person's liked your post, and I'll click on it, and it's a bride that's engaged, and she's all of the stuff on her feed is her planning a wedding. So I've not had an inquiry for it yet, but I can see that that's where the new generation of couples, if you will, are doing their wedding planning.
Yeah, without a doubt, yeah.
And again, I know this because me and Jade are looking at it. Jade's looking for inspiration for stationery and table favours and bits for our wedding, and it's all through Reels and TikTok. And it's a real it's becoming a big search engine for people. And TikTok's, if you go on the app and search for stuff, it's really handy. You can search for, I don't know,
anything
chicken casserole recipe, and it comes up with hundreds of videos of recipes that you can look at. And like that's a search engine now. That's where
for that it's just a bit easier than Instagram, isn't it?
And I think that's where the new
fast with
generation of
chucking up content for you,
people and couples are preferring it to Instagram, because Instagram's kind of in that phase now where Facebook was when Instagram first came out. All of a sudden it feels a bit clunky and like,
but it's coming back now.
But they're saying Facebook's coming back.
So this is what Gary V was saying on one of the last videos that I watched him, and he was saying that massive for this year is going to be organic content on Facebook, which I found really interesting.
You told me that, and I switched. So my Instagram stuff automatically gets posted to my Facebook business page.
I think mine does. Yeah.
I've switched it to go to my personal profile. So anything I post on Instagram now is now going to my Facebook profile, which I was kind of just based on what you said.
You've switched it to, instead of going to your business Facebook, it's going to your personal profile Facebook, which is your wedding stuff anyway, isn't it?
Which is, I've given up my Facebook to
you have to
business years ago. I don't have I'm not asked about it, but I've got all my everyone on my Facebook are, all my friends are. There are some genuine friends and family members, but there's also all wedding clients. And
I think social media for me should really. You got to think. I think it's about business, but it's a bit of personal as well. And
but if you want a really private, personal, like Instagram profile, Facebook, whatever, then go and do that and set it to private. Fine,
real Adam Wing.
Yeah, but then have make sure that you're putting a bit of that on your business one as well. So, I just started post anything that goes on my Instagram goes to my actual Facebook personal page or whatever it is, which is public anyway, so people are seeing it. And I've noticed that it's getting comments, and the posts that are going out now are getting like comments and things. Good again, so maybe there is something in it. It's funny you mentioned.
So TikTok, Facebook organic, according to Gary V.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Gary V. I'm just ending on this for that subject.
I'm just trying to think of things that I can give value to our viewers and listeners. I just want to put another thing in about something that could generate an instant booking for you, but carry on.
I want to hear what you've got to say now. Like, I was sat here with my notepad. You teed
Well,
it
no,
up.
we've touched on this before, and I've mentioned this to you before, and we know it's worked because we've done it ourselves. Is going back on your old inquiries. So, say even 6 months of inquiries you've had, any bookings that you haven't got, just a follow-up email.
Yeah, okay.
They could have gone in a junk.
Yeah.
They might, at the time they were busy doing stuff, your email reply might have got lost in translation.
I do this anyway.
Yeah. And you'll be surprised. I've done it. I know you've done it. You go back 3 months with inquiries and I just thought I'd reconnect again because blah, blah, blah. Oh, actually, yeah, shit, we need to get this done now, don't we? Yeah, come on, let's arrange a meeting. It can lead to an instant booking. It might take you an hour or two just to go over your old emails.
It's the urgency, isn't it? I had it a couple months ago where I always follow up a few weeks after, just saying, did you get my email? And if you've not heard back from him, just wondering if you're still looking for video, whatever the message is. I got a reply a few weeks ago going, "Oh my God, like we've been just so relaxed with the whole planning because it's 18 months away. Like we completely forgot we hadn't replied to you.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry. Like, yes, we do want to speak."
Yeah.
And it was just a simple
thing
of following
could
up.
be one or two of them sitting in your inbox right now from the last 3 or 4 months worth of inquiries.
And it only takes
that
one.
want to book you, but for some reason it's got lost along the way and they know they want to book you. Some people even think they've booked you. I've had that before. Yeah. Well, I thought we booked you. Yeah. No. We didn't even have a meeting.
It happens quite often where by the time you've chased them up and they've come back to you, you realise that they had every intention of going, like, they really are interested and they do really want to potentially book you. And they're just that laid back that they've gone, oh yeah, we just didn't think there was any rush. We definitely do want to, like, I had one where they were like, yeah, we've not even inquired with anyone else because you did. It turns out I did a friend of a friend's wedding and I'd come recommend it. It was always going to be you. We just didn't think we needed to rush. And it's like, well, I've not heard of you for 2 months, so I just assumed that you ghosted me. Like, it turns out they are really interested, and it just sometimes takes that little kick up the bum for them.
You've had the one where your reply has actually gone into the junk.
Yeah,
and you haven't seen
happens.
it.
Yeah,
and then they might be thinking, he's not got back to us. You've got that, and then you reconnect, and it's like,
oh, it's too late. We booked someone else.
Wait, or not.
Yeah.
Or maybe they have, but they really wanted you, and then they end up getting you in the end. Who knows? We booked somebody else, but we've only paid a small deposit. In fact, now we know you're free, we're going to swap it.
Yeah.
That's just wrong.
No, that's happened before.
That has happened before, you know. So I think the point there is as well, if you're going to reconnect, due to the fact that emails can land in junk boxes, it's connected more than one way. And I do this now religiously whenever I get a booking. I'll usually do it in at least 2. So I'll reply to the email, and it'll say at the top of the email, please reply so I know you've received my message. I then try and find them on Instagram or Facebook. I'll leave a message on Instagram, and I'll either do a WhatsApp or a text message.
Yep.
And I'll do that as a voice note. Hi, I got your email. Just thought to let you know I've replied. I'm only messaging you here just because sometimes my replies go in junk boxes. And I didn't want you to think that I'd not replied. So just to let you know, I got your message. I've sent you a reply. Any questions, give me a shout. I'm here to help. Thanks.
Voice note's good because it kind of humanises you a bit as well, and they get to hear your voice, and they get to because people will infer a lot about you by your tone of voice and being able to hear you rather than just reading.
Well, can you imagine if you're like an entertainer with a really boring persona?
Yeah.
Oh, I got your email.
This is why I don't do voicemails to people.
Come on.
Hi, I'm Adam.
Hello,
I'm the video
that's
guy.
my old friend.
See, it's.
Yeah, but that works well for me because I talk energetically and I talk.
But this is a great.
Like I am an entertainer anyway.
This is a good advocate for finding your people, because there'll be some people that will love the fact that you voicemailed them. I'm not a big fan of people that voicemail.
There's
it
a big
annoys
debate
me.
over this.
Yeah, it really annoys me when like you text someone and they reply with a voicemail.
You're like, I didn't want a freaking voicemail.
You're a nightmare for it, and you'll send me a 3-minute voicemail over what could have been a 3-word text.
No,
you do all the time.
The reason I don't do it is because I'm texting for ages. I haven't got the time to be texting all the time, and sometimes I'm
quicker.
busy, or I might even be driving, and I can leave a voice note.
Just I'm thinking of as a customer, if you voice messaged me on WhatsApp, saying, I think I'd be more receptive if you texted it. But this is a good example of where you'll alienate some people, but
So
really find your people.
I'd like the bride to go, oh, great, and reply with a voice note.
Yeah.
I know they're my type of couples because they're friendly, they're communicative. Is that a word?
Yeah,
communicative?
So then you're narrowing down your people. And interesting because
I don't
also
just do it for that. I do it for ease for me, to be honest.
Yeah, fair.
And
I'm not a fan of it.
I think it is a good thing that a potential client can hear your voice.
Yes, I do agree with that. And I also, if a bride or groom were to voice note me, then I would go, this is great because I know that they're actually interested.
Yeah.
Because if they voice note, they obviously
So I think,
care.
it's reverse that. And it's like the person who's inquired about you, they're thinking, oh, he is interested in our wedding. He's not just a guy who's going to reply with a generic email.
Yeah,
he's going to follow up. He's going to leave a voice note. He's going to follow up in 2 different places just to make sure. Do you know what I mean? So,
yep.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is, reply to an email, DM them on Instagram, message them on Facebook, text them, WhatsApp them, send a carrier pigeon to the house. Make sure that they've.
Someone was talking to the girlfriends the other day about the voice note thing, and some of them are like, "Yeah, I got this voice note. Bloody voice notes." All I wanted was a text. I feel like I've got a voice note back now.
This is me. I'm really...
and it's like, and I was like the other way. Sam said, well, I should do it now because I get fed up of typing and I'm spelling it wrong. And I just think it's easier to do. It's definitely a 50-50.
I'm a real grunt with voice notes, but you do. I know you do it all the time. And then I'll defiantly text you back, and then you send me another voice note.
You want me to get onto your train of texting?
But no, it's infectious because then sometimes I'm like, well, do you know what? Howard loves a voice note, so I'll just voice note him. So I've now relented and I will now voice note you. Yeah. And you're the only one of the only people that I do voice note.
Surely you must find it easier. Surely.
Depends. Sometimes, yeah.
Just go, hey mate, I can't be bothered. So it quite often starts with, look, I can't be bothered texting. It's going to take me ages. I just thought I'd leave you a voice note because I can't.
Yeah, but your voice notes go, hey mate, how's it going? How's it going? Right, I just thought I'd check in, mate. Yeah, how you doing? Oh, good. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, about next week. Yeah, you asked me about next week. Yeah, I'm free. That's good. So anyway, just thought I'd leave you this voice note, mate. Just let us know if you've got it, and I'll catch you soon. And yeah, catch up soon. Nice one. So all I've gleaned from that is that I'm free next week. "Are you free next week?" the answer is yes, and you could have texted that.
For me, I feel I'm making more of an effort, and I'm being more personable.
I sound really grumpy.
Rather than just going, yeah, I'm free. I'm like, I'm letting you hear my voice. It's more friendly.
I mean, I love hearing your voice.
Such a miserable bastard.
Going back to the Gary V, because
honestly though, mate, there's so many other things that.
Well, no, just the Gary V topic.
But we're going to be for 40 hours.
The thing that I always got from Gary V was, it doesn't matter what the platform is, you go where the attention is. And the attention used to be on Instagram, so you go to Instagram. The attention now seems to be a bit more shifting towards TikTok as well as, and there's both. So you do, and just keep an eye on where our couples are shopping, in a sense, where they're active, and that's where you need to be. Which at the minute seems to be TikTok, and maybe Facebook will come back, but it's just not being a dinosaur with it. And TikTok's not my bag, like, because that's where people are at the minute.
Yeah, but Instagram wasn't someone's bag, really. I mean, I'm confessed, I don't do TikTok. I don't do TikTok.
No, but you're aware that you're missing out on an audience there.
It is slightly different for me because I don't want random clients. This is the difference with me. I want my couple to either have seen me at a wedding, or that, yeah, their friends have seen me.
Yeah,
listen. Been good chewing the fat with you about stuff.
I hope this.
There's always more to do, always more to learn.
Well,
100%.
Maybe end on this. So, I did this talk in Glasgow a few weeks ago for like a videography conference, and as part of the talk, I was going back through I was like researching what to talk about and things, and I was going back through all the things that have worked for me in the past, and I found this like old PDF that I'd made, an old presentation that I'd made, and it was like a bullet point list of all the things that I've done to like generate inquiries, and it was all like a lot of the stuff that you taught me in the past, and a lot of stuff that we teach on the course. And off the top of my head, this list was things like, it was posting on social media, obviously. It was the email follow-ups, but it was things like wedding fairs and styled shoots and networking and going to entering awards and doing all that sort of stuff. And it's just all this stuff that we teach and talk about to other people. It made me stop and go, okay, so I'm a bit quiet now. What should I be doing? The economy is changing. Like, weddings are quieter. Doesn't matter. It's quieter. I need to do something. I need to pull my finger out. What can I be doing? And it was just remembering to go back to all the stuff that worked in the first place. Because all that stuff's like wedding fairs and wedding open days and style shoots and networking, all those things, making friends with other suppliers who might recommend you, and all those things still are valid and still work. And this leans into like making sure that you're always busy and always doing a good number of weddings, because I think part of the reason that my inquiries have dropped is because over the years I've strived to do less and less and less, so that then my kind of networking pool and the amount of work and the amount of content that I can generate is less because I'm doing less. So then there's that knock-on effect of it brings in less.
There we go. There's another example.
I think there's a lot. There's a lot of us. The path is kind of, you get established, you come in with maybe a new service, or you start doing really well. You get really busy because you're not charging too much, and then you start to refine, and then you start to put your prices up. And a lot of us kind of go for this, then in inverted commas, this luxury market. And it certainly happens in videography world, but everyone's striving to get into this really top tier, like thousands and thousands of pounds for a wedding video, or a photographer or florist. And you're targeting this, getting in with planners and things like that, targeting these luxury weddings, which I hate using that term. But then you do that, and then you're striving to charge more and work less, and that's kind of that's what success looks like, and that's what everyone's aiming for. But the less you do, the less it will then bring in, the less it will attract, because all those recommendations that, if you're doing a lot of weddings in a year, all their bride's sisters are going to recommend you, and the friends of the all the suppliers that you work with at each of those weddings, there's another chance to network and get recommendation there as well. So you've got to still be working loads to then bring it in. So I think a lot of people have fallen foul of, I'm going to do less weddings, I'm going to charge a fortune, I'm going to be dead premium brand, and then all the work dries up.
So in that respect, that's all on pricing then, really, isn't it? And
yeah,
pricing and not being out there as much. So I certainly find this when I go through my busy periods when I'm out performing, which should be spring and summertime. This is probably when I'm generating the most of the inquiries, because I'm in people's minds.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody's in wedding zone.
So
They've been to
sure
weddings.
that you've
They've talked about it. So yeah, there's massively being out there, being busy all the time is going to create more bookings. But you've got to get them bookings in the first place, haven't you? So like I say, when you start out, you're not charging a lot. You're telling everybody you're really striving. You're out there. You're going to get the inquiries coming through.
Yeah.
But you do have to find the balance.
But,
and I was going to touch on this as well with regards to like pricing. Do you think it's worth maybe coming back a little bit? Because you can always go up to a certain area, and there's something about there where you don't really want to come back, but sometimes you might have to. You might have to get that booking.
People get like it's a bit of a taboo subject.
It is, because people say, no, you should never lower your price. You can maybe offer a bit more.
Other suppliers, i.e. your competitors, will go, oh no, you're cheapening the services and it hurts the rest of us. And it doesn't matter. You've got a business to run. You've got to put food on the table. Like, some of us have kids and dependents and things like, and mortgages. Like, who cares what anyone else thinks? If it's getting you,
gives a shit. So listen, you might have a booking come through the door. You might have charged £2,500 for it, and you think if you could get that same booking, you could guarantee getting it at £2,000, then you're going to do it.
Yeah. What's like?
Do you know what I mean?
I'd rather have
do it.
I'd rather have a £2,000 worth of wedding than £2,500 worth of nothing. Or do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
no,
it's
exactly
not the right phrase, but if it
is the right phrase. Yeah.
There's a number there. There's a value of, okay, what am I willing to do this wedding for? Because if it's a date that I want to book and I'm quiet around that period anyway, and I could go in at my usual price and I might not get it, but if I go in at this price or I offer something extra, then I probably will get it. And what's that number for me? Like, where's the line of okay, I'm willing to do it for this much because I know I'll give myself a really good chance of getting it, and I'm fine with that. And there obviously there's a line where it's like, no, I'm not going to go that cheap.
I'm not going to cheapen myself that much.
Yeah.
No. But if it's a difference of getting your booking and not, because don't forget that booking
if
there,
for the sake of
could be the
500
perfect booking where there's 20 flipping potential brides and grooms in that same room.
Exactly.
So, and you've done the deal, and sometimes it does go back.
It's gone off again. We'll just. Exactly. I think if it's 500 quid less, then it's better having like 90% of the income and having the booking than not getting it, because otherwise you're just going to get 100% of zero, aren't you? Like,
yeah, and it's as well. I think it's good to let the people know as well. Look, this is my unusual price, but you know what? I really want to do your wedding. I really want to do your wedding. You recommended here. Listen, keep it between us, but I'll do it. I'll do it for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even they're like, oh my god, he normally charges this, and
yeah, they feel like you're really doing them a favour, and
because some people won't inquire because they think you're too expensive as well. So that's another issue, another road to go.
Well, it's
down,
it's the whole pricing kind of strategy, isn't it, and psychology.
And I just want to go back as well, and why industry could be in a position. Certainly for me, why it's quieter for certain areas, and it's quieter in the middle classes. I think
which is the biggest market. It's the mid-market. Which is the
biggest market.
Yeah.
The real high-end class, it's not affected. I don't want to even pursue going up to that area because I love my couples and I love every one of them, and they're always perfect for me. They're not multimillionaires. They're kind of somewhere in the middle, and they're just brilliant. But that is the area that is getting hit the hardest on the economy.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of that going on as well. But again, there's no excuses. It's just you're in control. You steer your shit. Sometimes you got to pivot and you got to turn. And you got to do things.
Well,
differently.
to answer that pricing thing, I would and have and I'm willing to drop my prices. Like I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Why would?
Certainly if it's like a
for me, I'm more expensive anyway, and you're probably more expensive than a lot of other people. So if people are aware of that and they think, actually, we've got this guy who normally charges this, one of the best in the country at what they do, he's actually willing to do it,
and that's
fairly not far off the other competitor, but we know we're getting something a bit better.
Yeah. That's a branding thing as well, isn't it? Because you can brand yourself in a way that they assume that you charge a lot of money because your brand's good. So if they go, oh, he's going to come down and do it for the similar price as the other person, but he's so much more premium. Yeah.
You'll get that booking every day of the week.
Yeah. So I don't mind. That's a really easy thing to do. You can go, do you know what?
Well, I'm happy with too egotistical.
I'm happy with 1,500 quid or $2,000. Like, I'll just drop my price, and then it might that'll get me the booking. Okay, it's not full price, but it's better than nothing. Yeah, and exactly, that's a really easy thing you can do.
Yeah, people get a bit egotistical about it, don't they, about themselves sometimes, and they need to separate themselves a little bit from that.
And it's not, you don't want to suddenly be charging half the price that you were last year and all of a sudden you're stuck at that price.
Yeah, I'm not saying if somebody charges $1,000 then go and do it for 500 quid, but it's if you've got a service, certainly you guys in the video will, where you're charging,
or you can offer more,
where you're charging 1,800 to $3,000, and it's like there's good leeway there to actually to knock something off and still get that booking.
Listen, I said long ago that if it ever dries up completely, shit is the fan, then I will just drop my prices back down and start again.
To go back to where you were.
Which is kind of, this feels like that kind of territory now where it's like, okay, it's quiet to the point where I need to hit a certain number every year. Maybe it's time to, things are like, I've not got there yet, but for me, it's been going back to that list of things that we tell other people to do when they're starting out. The strategies for generating leads. Going back and remembering to do them myself, practicing what I preach, and every now and again drop the prices. Yeah. And post more on socials because you need to get the eyeballs out there.
Yeah. Right. Mate, we've waffled enough on this one, ads. I think there's been some good stuff there. I hope you guys have enjoyed it on your drive or wherever
I know that if I'd listened to this, I would go, oh, okay, yeah, it isn't just me. And maybe there's some strategies there for how it can help, because it was something I've been feeling, and we've spoken to loads of people that are also feeling it. So I thought it was quite topical. And
yeah, me too, mate. Yeah, I think it's a good one.
Helpful,
to do.
Reassuring kind of conversation, because it's changed in the last couple of years, but
without a doubt. Right.
Hopefully we can all still thrive.
Happy days, ads. Thanks, mate. Enjoyed that. Thank you for listening again, everybody.
Thanks, everyone, for listening. Let us know what you thought. Drop us a message if you liked it, and subscribe if you've not. And all the other things you're supposed to say. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
So thanks so much for listening. We really hope that you found this episode insightful, inspirational, and if you did enjoy that, then please consider subscribing to us wherever you get your podcasts, iTunes, Spotify. We're Think Wedding Business.
We're also on YouTube and Instagram, so if you want to watch us, you can go over to YouTube and find us at Think Wedding Business, and the same over on Instagram to keep up with all of our future episodes.
We'd really love you to subscribe and join us on this journey. And if you do like this content, please consider giving us a 5-star review. It just helps us get seen and helps spread the word.
So thanks again for listening,
Wings
and we'll see you
out.
next time.
Bye-bye.